Hey, what's up, guys? We're here at Mo Production. It's Mo. We're going to be doing a tutorial on the installation of the Titan controller on the Light BX. We have the Titan controller here. We're going to give you guys detailed instructions on how to install it. That way you guys can feel comfortable doing it at home on your own. And yeah, let's get this started and on the road. Okay, guys, this is what comes in the box. You guys have the Titan controller itself. You have some grommets for the wires. You have here a GPS supply, which is not going to use. I'm going to remove that from the table. You're not going to use that. This is your 12 volt. This is basically your harness for your bike. This is what's going to give power to your screen, your light, the horn, everything else. This here is going to be your electronic brake. This is what's going to be your e-brake. You have a screen, and then you have your controls, which is the wheelie control side, the left controls, and then it's the right controls, which controls your speed and your cruise control. You have your screen bracket. This is what you're going to use to mount the screen onto your handlebars. This one here is programming. You know, this controller programs through the screen, so we're not going to use this. We're going to remove this from the table. And here we have the encoder to hall sensor. So if you have encoder motor, you're going to use this direct plug directly to your motor. If you have a hall sensor, you're going to use the adapter that's applied in the box, and you're going to plug it up to your hall sensors. And that's basically it. You guys have a little toolbox, just in case, a little tool bag, excuse me, just in case you guys don't have tools. And all right, let's get this started then. All right, guys. First things first. Well, the first step you want to do is disconnect your battery and remove it. Let's get that going. All right. So this is already unplugged. Unplug first, guys. If you have a breaker, switch your breaker off first before you unplug or plug your battery. All the time. All right. This one doesn't have it, so we're just gonna unplug the battery. All right. Gonna put the battery down safely. Put the battery somewhere safe. All right, guys. So to make your life easier and everybody's life easier, we're gonna remove the cap. You could do this at home just with two screws here, and just put this to the side. That way, you got some more work room. All right, we're just gonna cut some zip ties and stuff. We'll be right back. All right, guys, come down here. So your next step is gonna be to remove the controller. In this case, we have a torque controller, so it's gonna be a little different than yours. What you're gonna do is basically gonna be the same thing. You're gonna have two screws on the side, on the top here, and you're gonna have two screws on the bottom. Once you remove your controller, it's gonna move forward. All right, so I'm gonna start taking these screws off, and I'll be right back with you. All right, guys. Okay, guys, so we got the cap off. So once you get your controller off, your controller is gonna come forward, and you're gonna see this behind the controller. You're gonna see three-phase wires. You're gonna see a positive and a negative. You're gonna remove the negative, positive, and the three-phase wires, and I'll be right back with you. Let me just disconnect these, and then we can continue. Hey, yo, Jeff, cut the shit out. Like this, guys. All your stuff removed off the controller, and then you're gonna have all of your wires coming out of your controller. All right, let me just get this controller unmounted, and guys, so now that we have this loose, we have all the wiring harness out. Let's just take the key switch out. That way it could give us some space to install the new controller and the new wiring harness. That's one. This is two. And it should come right out just like that. Put this to the side. Last thing is the display. This is the last thing that you're going to remove from your bike. And that's it. After this, your bike is completely naked. Nothing on the bike, no harness. The only wire you're going to have from factory is this wire here, which is going to be your throttle. This is the only thing you're going to use from your bike. All right. Now let me get everything situated and I'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys, now we're moving to the bottom of the bike. Just to make it easier for you, there's two bolts right here. You can loosen those and slide your skid plate down. And I know this motor is a little different, guys, but it's almost the same thing. It's going to be there's going to be one single wire that's coming out of your motor with a lot of wires like this. This is called your Hall sensor. So what you're going to do now is you're going to go to your packages and you're going to grab the encoder to Hall sensor. You guys have a Hall sensor. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your Hall sensor connector and you're going to add our adapter and get it ready for connection to the controller. All right, guys? Okay, guys. Now the interesting part, we're going to go and get the controller. Get a box or something soft so you can lay down the controller on. And just go on and bring over the controller and set it down to get it ready for connection. So what we're going to do here, we're going to do some wire sorting. That way you guys don't go crazy after once the controller's on the bike. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate the wires that go down to the bottom, which is the phase wires and the Hall sensor and the step down. All that stuff is going to the bottom, plus the throttle. So let's locate that now. This is a right switch, so that goes up to your handlebar. Let's get the next one. This is the one we're looking for. This is your Hall to encoder. There you go. Grab this one. That one is going down. Let's go to the next one. This is your display. Obviously, that goes up. Go to your next wire. This one goes down. This is for your tilt sensor. If you do not have a tilt sensor, you do not need to use this. Let's just put that going down. Next one would be throttle. Throttle, if you have a long throttle which comes to the bottom like this one here, you would bring this to the bottom. Let's go to the next wire. This one would be your left switches. So this one obviously goes to the top. And this one here would be the 12-volt converter. You can see here. This one goes down to the bottom. And this one here, the foot brake will not be used. Okay, and here we have the GPS. Like I said, the wire earlier, we're not going to use that unless you have a 12-volt supplied GPS. Then you can use the 12-volt supply and just connect the wire here and the other end to your GPS. But for now, we're not using that. And over here, last but not least, we have the 12-volt output and the electric lock. And guys, remember this electric lock, it's going to be your key lock, all right? Your key switch. And this is going to go to your 12-volt system. We're going to get to that later once we get up to the top. All right, guys. Now we're going to move on to the grommets for the connectors. Right now we're going to use the phase wires. So we're going to take the positive and negative. We're going to put those to the side for now. We're going to focus on these. This is pretty straightforward. Just match the colors up. That's simple. I'm going to leave that like that for now. All right, so for the color matching, see you guys got here U, V, and W. All right, so U, V, and W. So the way you're gonna match the colors to these letters is gonna be U, it's gonna be blue, V is gonna be green, and W is gonna be yellow. All right, guys? That's the way you're gonna match this up. So now we're just gonna get all the hardware. Comes with a little tool. Also comes with this Allen key here. This is the one you're gonna use. Let's get this out. Okay. So this is what you're gonna use to install the phase wires in this order. You're gonna take the screw, the lock washer, and then the regular washer. This is the way it's gonna be installed. All right, guys. So let's start with U and blue. Yeah, you just gotta get those wires in the position you want, and just start screwing it down. You're gonna use the included tool. Snug it down. And guys, make sure these wires are not like this or like this. Make sure that they're facing straight down. All right, guys? And remember, guys, you're not going to torque these down, try to rip off the nut. You're just going to snug them down and give it a little push, and you're done. You're going to move on to the next one. Make sure the screws are in the order I told you. And V goes to green. So we're just going to twist this wire around, get it into position. And guys, put these screws in by hand first. That way you don't cross thread it by mistake. Once they're in by hand, snug them down. Remember, just make sure that they're straight. And you're done. That's it. Move on to the next one. In that order. I'm going to flip the wires around. Get them into position. repeat the process. All right. Once you're done with this, guys, just bring those rubbers over and cover the connectors. All right. And once you get to this point, now you can use your front tire as a rest for the controller. That's so. All right, guys, now we're going to move on to the positive and negative wires. Put those grommets on same way. All right. Same order again. Black washer, washer. I'm going to leave those snug for now. Just so we can position it the way we want it. Get this wire out the way for you guys. There you go. And these here are going to go up to the top of the controller, opposite from the phase wires. Bring the grommets down, cover the connections. There you go. That's how it should look. All right. All right, guys. So when you get to this point here, where it's suspended, take those wires I told you before that go to the bottom. You want to put them through here. We're just doing some cable management now. That way you don't have to do it later on. So it should look something like that. All right. So now we're going to come to the bottom. And we're going to get the encoder and connect it right to that connection that I told you earlier. This plug that came. We're going to just connect those two. Okay. If you want, you guys can zip tie these wires here like this just to make it shorter. And you're going to tuck them on the bottom. Remember, don't over tighten these zip ties. You don't want to damage any wires, all right? So it should look like this. All right, the one with nothing on it, the one I told you you're not going to use, that's your tilt sensor. If you do have a tilt sensor and you do want to use that feature, you can connect the tilt sensor to here. We don't have a tilt sensor, so we're just going to leave that down. All right, and the other wire that I told you that goes to the bottom, that'll be the throttle lever. Like I said, if you have a long throttle like most Surrons do, it'll be at the bottom. Grab those two and just push them in till you hear that click. Like so. Leave those wires there for now, okay? And the 12-volt converter goes to this box here, which will usually be under here. 3 prong. Line it up and push it into the clicks. Sorry, wrong one. That's so. And then you place it here. Later on, we're going to come back and we're going to fix all of these wires here. Make sure none of them get caught up. Once you get them all lined up, push the door forward and line up your controller. And if you come to the front here, okay, so once you get all your wires situated like that, you're gonna push the door back forward and you're gonna push your controller up and you're gonna line up the two bolts that mount the controller, which are one here and one there. I'll be right back with you once I mount that. That's fine. Okay guys, now we're at the top of the bike, and once you mount your controller with the two screws that I told you to mount down here, you would have all the connections you need. All right, so let's just start connecting all the connections. This is pretty straightforward. All the connections only connect to one connector. See, that's your electronic brake. Push that into the clicks. To your left switch. Let's get that. That connects here. To your left controls. This one we're not going to use right now. Okay. Let's get right controls. Look here. The right control. Push that into the clicks. This one here will go to your display. Go push that into the clicks. We're almost done. This one here goes to your power supply. And this wire here, coming from your positive and negative, goes into your battery power supply. Let's get that connected. Don't wrap around anything. Try to go direct route. There you go. All right. So now we're almost done. Now we're going to move on to the 12-volt system, which are your lights, horn, and the power supply to the screen. We'll be right back. All right, now that we're here, guys, let's just take the chance to take all of these wires and sort them all in one route. And now we can set this back. Sure nothing's pinching. So there we go. And we can set the two screws back, the one from the left and the one from the right, to secure the plate. You can just put those back. All right, guys. Now we're gonna move on to the 12-volt supply, which is your horn, your USB charger, tail light, headlight, etc. Okay, we're gonna start off by going down here, getting this line we pulled out earlier. 12-volt output and electric lock. Electric lock door is your key. Okay, guys? That's what your key is gonna go on. Not sure why it's named that, but that's where it's gonna go. All right. just like that. All right, let's continue with the 12 volt. 12 volt output. You're gonna connect it to your new harness. Push it into the clicks. There you go. Okay. First things first, we're gonna sort the longest line, which is your tail light, just so that you have enough space to get there. All right, we went ahead and took the plate off, but if you look on this side, the plate will look just like that. You remove those 2 screws to get your old tail light out. So you want this wire to be under the key. So you just put that there for now. And you just sort your wire right through here and put your cap back on, put your 2 screws. All right, then you just bring the line down through there, go around the back, grab it. You can meet me on the bottom here. It's gonna go through here, and your light will go right here. We don't have one yet because we're ordering one, but your light will go here. You can just leave the wires there for now. All right. Okay, guys, let's continue with the 12 volt system. We already have all the controls. All right. So we're gonna go to the 12 volt system and we're gonna look for headlight switch, which is over here, by the way, guys. Okay. Behind your controls, that's your headlight switch. You're gonna get that and you're gonna go over here. You're gonna plug that to this one. Push it into the snaps. All right. Now we're gonna move on to your horn, which are these. You're gonna push those through all the way down till you get to the bottom here. Okay. And your horn would be here. You just connect, doesn't matter which side goes on which. You just connect one on one, one on the other. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so yeah, the speaker on and off, like I was saying, goes on the left controls.
That's your horn button.
That's your horn button. Remember, guys, speaker on and off would be your horn button. Okay. Remember, this one would be your headlight. Okay, and this electric lock. Remember, guys, electric lock is your key switch. After that, you're done. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna do some sorting of wires. All right. We'll push this down all the way to the top and down. Remember, guys, you're gonna leave these 2 on the top. Okay, this will be your charging port, USB charging port, and your key switch. All right, you're gonna hold on to these 2. Okay, you just leave that right there. You can sort everything the way you want to sort it out. Okay, basically that's how it would look. Then you're gonna take all of your wires. Remember, guys, when you bring these wires up from the handlebars, you want to leave enough space so that you'll be able to turn and it's not pulling on anything. Okay, so all these wires, you would have to leave enough slack so that when you turn, you're not pulling. So what you do is you turn left, you sort this side out, turn right, and you sort the other side out. You zip tie it, you push everything down, sort all your wires out, and get ready to put the cap on. All right, guys, so take the time now. That way you don't lose your wires. Remember, electric lock. Line it up, push it to the clicks. You're gonna have these two. Just go here, doesn't matter the order. Make sure you cover them. All right, we're gonna leave that right there for now. It should look something like that for now. We're gonna go ahead and move this out the way. Let's leave that to the side. And as you're putting this on, you'll be pushing the wires to the back, okay? Remember, don't pinch these wires. They have to be in this slot here. Just like that. Make sure you have enough slack to go left. Go right. Go left. You see how that's pulling? You don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull more slack. Okay, that's good. So now you go ahead and put your 2 screws on. I'm going to do that. I'll be right back. Just going to make sure that the wires are not touching. There we go. Remember, guys, this is plastic. Don't torque this down too much. Okay, guys, so this is what it should look like when you finish putting your cap on. The bottom should look like this when you secure the controller. All right, now we're gonna move on to programming and starting the system, self-learn, and so forward. All right, let's get to it. You're gonna slide your battery in. Sure it's secure. Plug it in. All right, let's leave that there for now. And this is what your first power up should look like. All right, guys. So let's go start going through the settings. These are all your screens. So you have one screen here, second screen, third screen, and then this will be all your settings. Okay, you have 3 pages. All right, 4 pages. So when I say P1, P2, P3, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, guys. So for your settings, these should be your settings here. At rated current should be at 200 amps. Low G pulse should be at 200 amps. Mid G pulse should be at 260 amps. High G pulse should be at 400 amps. Low break 1 should be at 200. Low break 2 should be at 100. Brake cutoff should be at 50 amps. Battery disc should be at 200. Battery charge should be at 200. Regen torque should be at 0. This one should be at 30. Drive mode should be at torque mode at torque. And then this one should be whole motor should be at what your preference. So if you have a decoder motor or a Hall sensor motor, you'll choose according to what you have. Your minimum voltage, same thing. You choose by what you have. If you have a 72-volt battery, you go by those settings. We'll have those on the screen at the end. This is the same thing. Maximum voltage, we'll have that at the screen at the end as well. Speed calibration. If you have a stock 1919 setup, you should be at about 1,000. Low gear RPM, 70%. This is your preference. Mid gear RPM at 100. High gear at 125. Low gear throttle should be at 12%. Yeah, 12. Mid gear throttle should be at 12. High gear throttle should be at 12. Reverse speed 30%. Throttle protection on. Temp sensor, that'll be KTY84130. Motor direction, you would have to start your bike. We'll do that in a second when we do the self-learning. Throttle start should be at 0.95. Full throttle should be at 4.95. Low brake start should be at 1.05. Low brake full should be at 4.02. Over voltage should be at disabled. Over voltage power cut should be disabled. Wheelie direction, that'll be direction 1. Control angle, you will leave as is. We'll go back to that in a minute. Minimum wheelie should be 8. Max wheelie should be 50% for stock battery. Wheelie current, 350 amps. Wheelie disc should be at 3. Self-learning. We're going to get to that in a second. I'll explain all that. Frequency should be at 20 kilohertz. Brake signal should be at low active. Tilt port should be closed. Battery use should be at regen and park. Gear settings should be push mode. Battery series should be preference on your battery. Depending on what you have, that's what you'll set this on. That's basically the series of batteries you have. Setup UI, that's 1. Pole pairs, 4 if you have a stock motor. Fan speed, 25%. Sensorless should be at 4.0. E-brake should be at 0. And this one, if you're in the US, should be on miles per hour and Fahrenheit. Once you're done with all of these settings, you hold down M until the computer resets. All right, I hope this video helped you guys out. If you want to get a Titan controller, you just go on titancontroller.com, put Mo18 at checkout to save 5%, and I hope this helped you out. Have a good